The webpage? Okay. Just bring it up from there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes, I thought that was.
Okay, not secure. See, it's not going to let me do anything because we're not secure. Linux isn't
I
secure.
would not put that past anybody, let alone Mr. Jones. But that's not what we're printing.
I'll try that.
Loud and proud.
I don't even know how to do that. God, I'm an Apple guy.
We're going to call the meeting to order. Will the clerk please note those in attendance?
Noted.
All right, will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, that's the extent of your meeting, Councilmember Jones. If you could please join me at the podium. I already made a mistake. No, we have to approve the minutes. You're there for that. One more official task. All right, I trust everyone's had a chance to review the minutes from the last council meeting. I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Councilmember Jones, I'd entertain a motion from you.
I would move to approve, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Now you're officially done. If you please join me at the podium. There are lots of people that want to speak tonight, so I will be brief. I feel very privileged to be able to speak on your behalf because of the 16 years that you served on the council. I've only had the privilege of serving for 2 years, so it's been brief, but it's been a wonderful 2 years. I have learned a lot from you, and I've always admired that you have been candid, you've been plain-spoken, everybody knew where you stood on the issue, and I personally have appreciated that, especially with Minnesota nice, and we tend to skirt around the issues.
We don't like that.
Councilmember Jones has never had that problem, as you all know. So you have left a lasting legacy on this council. You have left your mark on the city, literally, because you designed the water tower. And I hope that's your logo, that's your image, and I hope that that stands for many, many years as just a very large representation of the mark that you have left on this community. I know you've always had White Bear Lake's best interest at heart, and I look forward to seeing what you're going to continue to do at the Historical Society. So it's not so much goodbye, but we're going to see Councilmember Jones in a different capacity, just no longer at the dais. So on behalf of the city, thank you for your many, many years of service. This large bear is truly well-deserved, and just thank you again for all your...
Mr. Mayor. I want one with Mr. Mayor and the bear.
All right.
I mean, he's the third one, but he's the one that's given me the bear, so he counts.
And I believe Ms. Crawford has a few words to say as well.
I got to stay here? Okay.
You're not done.
No, no. Okay. Well, it's going to be a little repetitive because you're that great. So, first of all, you have been an advocate for many, many things. So I have a little, just some notes with some help from former staff because I've only been here 2 years. So for the south side of White Bear, you have been an advocate for 16 years. For County Road Corridor E, for all of our many parks and trails. For quality and efficient city services and just good local government. Some of the projects I think that have been very important to you, I suspect you'll probably also list a few more that I don't know about, but the South Shore Trail, the renovation and funding partnership of the YMCA, the Rambler Revolution, which I hear about a lot, the facility renovations for Public Works and now Public Safety, and you've hired 2 city managers, so thank you for that.
I'm not taking 100% for you.
I knew that was coming. But you have been on the city council, you did it for the right reasons. You didn't waver from seeing the big picture and looking out for the greater community, and you have been truly an example of a public servant. As the mayor said, a piece of you will be lasting forever in the city of White Bear Lake throughout the community with your artwork on the water tower, our city logo, as well as many street signs. And we have one more water tower to paint, so not quite done yet. I can't stress this enough, Dan, how much staff and I have appreciated your support over the years, and I think that's a testament to, there are many current and former staff members in the audience here. So thank you for serving the city, and so well over the last many years. We appreciate everything that you've done, and we also have a special little gift from staff for you.
Mr. Mayor, go. Thank you.
So, thank you.
Wait. It's hug night. It's always, come here. Am I done?
Not yet. We're not done yet.
Now we start the roast. No, there are a couple council members that would like to say a few words. So, Councilmember Edberg, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Jones, things are going to be a little bit quieter on this end of the dais. And that's always been, for me, a source of both interest, but also an expression of your passion, your energy, your vision for our community. As another long-serving public servant, I recognize the contributions that you have made in 16 years. It's a long time to put up with all the other little things and some not so little things, but you've done it with good grace, an occasional acerbic comment, occasional, and but all in all, done for the right reasons. City manager captured many of your passions, and it's just been a joy for me to be. We haven't always agreed on things, and that's okay, because you have always we have disagreed without being disagreeable, longer than about 5 minutes. So, anyway, thank you for your service. I honor it.
If I could, Mayor. Dan, I really appreciate your passion. I like to think I have a little passion too, and the passion you bring, it's important. It means you believe what you're saying, and you believe what you bring to this dais. And a lot of people have said everything that I could repeat, but what you've done for me on the council over the years is, we joke about this White Bear Way thing, but you're born and raised. You grew up in White Bear. You understand White Bear better than I think all of us do. Certainly I do, as someone who's only been here, even 20 years, but not born and raised. Well, yeah. So whenever I couldn't understand something, like I don't get what's going on, I don't understand the pushback, I would come to you and you'd say, no, here's what they're saying, here's why they're saying, here's the history of the city. That always helped me as a councilman. Oh, okay, I get this now. I'm thinking of the dispatch decision, which was a very difficult decision, and to me it was black and white. It was financial, but it was a community thing that you helped me understand, and I really appreciate that about you on the council, and I'll miss that. I'll miss it, but I'm also going to continue to call you and run things by you, because I think I'll need that feedback from, what am I missing here, Dan?
Someone to argue with.
Yeah, and argue a little too. So I got you a little present on the way out, and people have talked about your artistry and your artistic talent, and as an artist and as somebody who cares about aesthetics, you were very upset when they did the 35 bridge over Highway 96. No. They put some bears on there to decorate it. Very nice of the state to do that for us. But the bears are not white. So I may or may not have committed some vandalism today. In honor of your service to the city for 16 years and of your last day, some of those bears may be white today. Maybe we have a picture that we could bring up. The bears are white. Sworn in before Chief takes me out of here for the vandalism. That would be a good thing. Congratulations. That's a state bridge, yeah. So maybe is there any state patrol here? Yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. I know you're dying to talk, because.
No,
But please, thank you again, and if you'd like to share a few words, we'd love to hear from you.
I would. Well, it's hard to walk away, and it is. I mean, there's something about being on this council with these people, and it's people that it's what it's been. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, staff. As I've reflected on city council, I tried to remember the projects, and Lindy, thank you for reminding me of them, because honestly, when I'm starting to go back 16 years and look at agendas, that's a problem. But the truth is, it could be my age. Oh, it could be my age, sorry. Tech guys. It could be my age. Not shocking. There's been a lot of dirt pushed, buildings built, roads improved, policies created, updated, implemented, amended. They kind of blur all together. But what I remember is the people, honestly. It's the people that have made the place that we call home an even better place. And that's what's special. So please bear with me while I attempt to say thanks to all the people that have made this city even better, I think, each time that we've had an evolution of change, which is constant. And I dare I say that you guys have made me a better person. Not easy to do, I understand that. But I got to start with former city manager Mark Sather. He was essential in my municipal education boot camp. Essential, and I mean that. He always took the time to answer my questions, maybe too much time. But Mark guided us through the Great Recession, a tough time. And for over 3 decades directed our city. Our city would not be the city it is today without that man. Thank you, Mark. Ellen Heinecker, former city manager. Ellen, you were hired during a time of transition. And I don't want people to forget that. Not just taking over from Mark after his long tenure, but you became city manager at a time when municipal governments were changing how they operate, and you saw that. And you had to bring people with you. And I think you were ahead of the curve. You had the perfect temperament for that job. The perfect temperament. You were able to bring people together during COVID-19 and the impact of George Floyd. Virtually 2 simultaneous events that changed our country. And Ellen was there being our calm, level-headed guide throughout all of that, throughout the unknown. Thank you, Ellen. Lindy Crawford, city manager, thank you for saying yes. You fool. You have had the job of continuing a Mark and Ellen has started. Your strength is your personality, backed by your ability, a rural town upbringing. You know I love that Austin mix. And previous city and management experience. In my opinion, you are the perfect fit for our city. Be patient with us. Don't let us become something that we're not. Former mayors Paul Auger and Joe Emerson, 2 people I have greatly admired and served a long time with. They handled the job of being mayor, the only city elected official, and that deserves a lot of respect. They both served during times of growth and difficulty and did so with patience, understanding, and professionalism. They chose to be mayor not for the title, but out of the service to their community, and Madam Mayor, you did so admirably. Brian Belial, you didn't think I'd call you out, but I'm going to. Former city council member and current park board member, he just can't walk away. Brian and I were elected the same year, didn't know each other from Adam, But strangely, we became fast friends and kind of like the odd couple, really. For the past 8 years, Brian, I have missed you every single day on this council, and that is with no offense to current council members. Brian did his research and served with respect and absolute dignity. I relied heavily on him for conversations and guidance, and no, I didn't break any open meeting laws. Brian was my only phone a friend. Brian, thank you for being there for me. For time's sake, I can't go into details for everyone, but I can't step away without mentioning the people that made the job of being a city council member much, much easier. I have to start with staff because these are the people that got the real work done. To sit up there and say yay or nay isn't that difficult. The work is done before that, and it's not done when that yay or nay happens. There's a lot more work to do after that. Staff, you are the heartbeat of our city. You keep things growing and flowing, literally, hopefully. Especially, you create, implement, and carry out policy and keep us safe and protected, all jobs done that are unique yet still very difficult in each one of them. Especially when you have over 25,000 supervisors. Have you heard the expression, herding cats? These people know how to herd cats, I'm telling you. They know what they're doing, and I have my sincere gratitude, as everyone should give them, for they have chosen White Bear, our home, as their place of profession. Rick Juba, Mark Birch, Paul Kaupy, Connie Talon, Mark Meyer, Andy Witecki, Don Rambo, Carrie Kinsvater, Jim Robinson, Ann Kane, Jason Lindahl, Tracy Schimmick, Troy Gilkest, Lynn Banks, Julie Swanson, Dale Hager, Tim Vadness, and Greg Peterson. All of you have been in my mind as far as helping me become a better city council member. The city staff can't do everything, and I would not have endured 16 years out here without the help of community members. The following people were literally always available to talk, to take my phone call, which I'm sure was painful. And I needed a point of view outside our city government. And it's people like Dale Grambush, Sarah Hansen, Scott Costello, Chuck DeVore, Doug Bean, Daryl Lemire, Lisa Beecroft, Esther and Tom Newcomb, Dean Fenner, Tim and Holly Geck, Jim and Deb Berry, J.P. Peroni and Victoria Reinhardt, Sherry Wilson, Carol and Pat McFarland, Bill Short, Mike Greenbaum, Mike Gengler, Bill Fassard, Stephanie McNamara, Phil Bellafiore, and Tim Wald. These are people throughout the community that, through extension, made our city, our community better. And thanks goes to each one of them. All of them had a profound impact. They deserve our thanks, my thanks, for serving our community. And it may seem odd, but I also have to thank the entire community. I know it sounds like a blanket, but it's not. When our daughter Kayla got hurt in 2016, the support from this community was desperately needed and wanted and received. That will never, ever be forgotten by our family. And now to my former colleagues on the council. Thank you for putting up with me, especially this last year, Mr. Mayor. I truly believe the city is in good hands. From your first day, you have listened, given your opinion, and have been fair. That's not easy, especially coming out of the gates. Good job. Keep doing it. Councilmember Hughes, thank you for asking the questions and challenging the norm. It's the questions that don't get answered that it's going to get us into trouble. Thank you. Councilmember Engstrand, I'm thankful for your candor. You could chime in every once in a while. But on the upside, you're making the meetings shorter. So, Councilmember Walsh, thanks for keeping our financial pencils sharp. It's never a bad thing. You and I don't agree on everything, but we do have one thing in common. You do, like you said, we both, everybody knows where we stand. And I admire that in you. And you make it damn hard not to like you. Thank you, Bill. And finally, Councilmember Edward, sincere thanks for your knowledge, insight, and wisdom. You have served almost 40 years. I think once you complete this last term, it'll be 40 years of public service, which in my estimation is probably a record for the community. That's unbelievable. You're crazy. Sometimes it takes you more to say things than I have the patience for, but that's my problem, and I digress.
He takes up my time.
One thing that you have done throughout all of our 14 years together was push me to be just better. No matter if it was there, here, you just made me better. Thank you, Mr. Everett. And in closing, my most important thanks go to my family, to my beautiful mother, Jane Jones, who, if you didn't know, showed up in a white bear coat that's fabulous. Thank you, Mom, for being a force of nature who inspired her son to be involved and serve this community that you raised him in. To my daughters, Sam, Cam, Kayla, and Emma, thank you. Beautiful young women. When I was first elected, you were 8, 10, and 12. The formative teenager years, the terrifying years. I know I missed important parts of your lives, but I always came home to a hug of forgiveness, and you knew what I was doing was important. Thank you for that understanding. It meant more to me than you'll ever know, and I love you so much that it hurts. And finally, to my beautiful, kind, supportive, understanding wife, Sally. You've gone to countless events, standing by me while holding me up. I can't begin to fathom how bored you were. You provided the best advice. You were a sounding board. You listened. You gave your opinion and your reflection, and that meant a lot to me. A lot of that decision came forward to my decisions. You took care of our family when things got busy, when things got tough. Thank you for being my foundation. You are my rock, and without you, I would crumble. It's been an honor to serve as council member representing the great 3rd Ward of the city of White Bear Lake. I'm thankful to the residents of Ward 3 for the opportunity, but I'm ready to move on. But I would not trade one single minute. Ms. West, congratulations. That seat up there is all yours now. Take care of it, and thank you for your service. And now, council, for the first time, I get to go home and eat cake. Gotta retire. And there she is.
For those that may not want to stick around for all the boring stuff on the council meeting, if you want, you're more than welcome to depart now. I can give you a few minutes. Otherwise, we're going to jump right into the business. So, all right, we're going to move on to the business at hand. Item 3, I'm sorry, before we get to that, we do need to swear everyone in. So we have our new council member and then those. Sorry, I'm just so eager to get into the business of it. All right, so with that, I'm going to throw things to Ms. Crawford, who's going to get the process started, or is Ms. Okay, go
The
ahead.
city clerk will just invite Councilmember Andrea West to come forward and be sworn in.
So please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States
And the state of Minnesota.
and the state of Minnesota,
And will discharge and faithfully execute
and will discharge and faithfully execute
the duties devolving upon me
the duties devolving upon me
as council member for the city of White Bear Lake
as council member of the city of White Bear Lake
without fear or favor,
without fear or favor,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations. Councilmember Walsh. And Councilmember Iceman, come on up.
It's the right hand.
All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I
I,
state your name.
Bill Walsh,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Minnesota,
and the state of Minnesota,
and will discharge and faithfully execute
and will discharge and faithfully execute
the duties devolving upon me
the duties devolving upon me
as council member for the city of White Bear Lake
as council member of the city of White Bear Lake
without fear or favor,
without fear or favor,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah. There's less stress in that face. I wonder why. There's no radio on her hip. Come on. I'm actually disappointed. I'm not gonna tell you that. Come on.
Right. Welcome, Councilmember West, to the dais. We're happy to have you. And now we're going to jump into the business. We need to adopt an agenda. So unless there are any amendments or changes to the agenda, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have an agenda. Item 4, the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
The motion is second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. Item 5, visitors, nothing scheduled. Item 6, public hearings, we have nothing scheduled. Item 7, unfinished business, we have nothing scheduled. So item 8A, the 2024 annual appointments. Ms. Crawford, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I do have an updated staff report and resolution that is in front of you. The change in the staff report is the appointment of the council chair. So let me get organized here. So every year, the city council must approve annual appointments for various areas of the city government and to support operations of the city. So I'll just quickly run through those various areas and then toss it back to the mayor. So tonight, you will be appointing a chair of the city council, which is a 2-year appointment. You will appoint city council members, representatives to various organizations, which include Ramsey County League of Local Governments, VLAMO, Ramsey County Dispatch Policy Committee, Northeast Youth and Family Services, and the Metro Purple Line Corridor Management Committee. Information about each of those organizations is outlined in the staff report. The city charter, a resolution and establishing the HRA says that the mayor shall appoint members to the HRA board, which shall be consistent with the city council members. We will appoint the city attorneys, and a change in this year is the city charter was amended to allow for multi-year contracts of up to 5 years. Both of our city attorneys are present city attorneys, GDO Law and Kennedy and Graven have submitted proposals for 3-year contracts for their services, and staff does recommend appointing both of those. You will appoint the administrative hearing officer. Presently, that is Jim Rathburn, and staff does recommend a reappointment of Mr. Rathburn. And then finally, we will designate an official newspaper. Currently, that newspaper is the White Bear Press, and they did submit a proposal again this year. They are a local, hold a local office here, so they fit the criteria of state statute for designation. So with that, I can stand for any questions and let the council discuss.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Crawford. Let's jump right into it and go kind of point by point through the ones that we need to make decisions on tonight. And I know, just for the record, and for those who may be watching at home, we had some back and forth about who did what last year and who might want to serve. So I'm going to kind of go based on that premise, and if anyone has any comments or wants to throw someone else's hat in the ring or wants to try something different, just we'll proceed that way. So the Ramsey County League of Local Governments, last year's representative was Councilmember Walsh. The alternate was Councilmember Engstrand. Are we both okay serving in those capacities this year?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I mean, it's difficult to say. I mean, until we get through the whole list, maybe. I don't know if we, because you know, I don't have a ton of interest in that group. They meet by Zoom on Friday mornings when I missed most of the meetings, I'll be honest with you. So if there's someone else that has any interest in that one, I mean, I would gladly give that up. And especially depending on what we're going to do with the next one, which is VLAMO, which is, you know, one of the tougher commitments, I think, for a council member outside of the regular duties. So.
Okay.
How's that? I don't know how to have this conversation without,
Why don't we do that, and we'll try and check the ones that we know for sure kind of good. So I'll make note of that. Let's move on to VLAMO. I know Councilmember Walsh, you were the alternate. It sounds like our new Councilmember West, is interested in doing that. It sounds like you were alluding to that. Is that something Councilmember West is willing to serve on? And if so, please let us know your thoughts.
Yes, I'd be willing to serve on.
Okay.
Yeah, so Mr. Mayor, that's a real commitment. So I'm thrilled that you want to do it. I mean, Dan spent a lot of time on that and took it seriously. And it's not that. Maybe it's one more month. Like, they meet every other month. They don't meet every month even, so it's not that big a deal. But it's probably one of the more time-consuming ones on this sheet. So if you're willing to do it, Councilmember West, I'm thrilled. And I'd love to continue as the backup. There's been times when I've been, I think, 3 or 4 meetings over the years, so have some familiarity with it. I'm a ready backup. But that'd be great. And then if that's the case, then I'm more willing to serve like on this Ramsey County government piece.
Okay.
If I'm not doing VLAMO. So this is good. This is good.
All right, so we'll call that tentatively good. Let's move on to Ramsey County Dispatch Police Committee. Councilmember Hughes served on that last year. We do need an alternate backup. We'll start with Councilmember Hughes. Are you willing to continue to serve on that organization?
Yeah.
Okay. Would anyone like to fill outgoing Councilmember Jones's alternate role on that? Anyone at all?
Well, if you need a name.
All right, well, that's okay. I mean, if I want to at least give people a chance that know they want to do it. Sounds like that one's doesn't have a lot of takers, so we'll put a pin in that for now. I'm making notes as we go here, so that's That's helpful. The Northeast Youth and Family Services, Council Member Hughes, you expressed maybe a willingness to give others an opportunity on that. Does that
Right.
still stand?
Yes.
Okay. And Councilmember West, you expressed an interest in that. Is that still the case?
Yeah.
Okay. And have we historically just not had an alternate, or is that not needed?
Never done an alternate.
Okay.
I don't know if that's needed.
All right. Well, we don't want to reinvent the wheel if we've
I
never
don't,
had
it's
it.
a, it's a board, so it doesn't really work.
Oh, sure. You're
because
officially on the
you
board.
gotta.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they have I kind of chuckled the first time I was on that board that they interviewed me and accepted me, and I'm thinking, well, of course you're going to accept me. The mayor appointed me. I'm your board member.
Right.
But I had to go through their process, so
Yeah.
there's no alternate there because you're actually serving on their board.
Yeah, unless they allow for proxies, which
Yeah.
I don't want to get into if they do or not. That makes sense why we never had an alternate for that position. Okay. Well, thank you, Councilmember West, for volunteering for that one. The Metro Purple Line Corridor Management Committee, it was my understanding, Councilmember Walsh was fine staying in that capacity. Councilmember Edberg was fine staying in an alternate role. Is that still the case?
Yes.
Okay. So then by my math here, we've got an alternate that we need for the Ramsey County Dispatch Policy Committee. Maybe what would be somewhat helpful if Councilmember Hughes, that you served on that, is that a significant time commitment? Maybe that might help someone make a decision whether to raise their hand and serve in that capacity.
No, I don't think there needs to be an alternate.
Okay.
Doesn't need to be an alternate?
I don't think so. I mean, it's 4 times a year.
Yeah,
and-
but I think there's always
Yeah.
a point to alternate.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I guess
I don't know
more if it's
the
4 times a
reality.
year. Okay, so that's helpful, just to tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking around, trying to dragoon someone into maybe doing this. Keep in mind, it's just an alternate role, and I have every confidence that Councilmember Hughes.
Don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact.
I'm sure Councilmember Engstrand, can I put you on the spot and count on you to be the alternate? Is that something you'd be willing to do?
Sure, you can put my name on there.
All right, I appreciate that.
It'd be great on your resume.
It's going to be good. And of course, we have every confidence Councilmember Hughes is going to show up at every meeting and you won't have to do anything, but just in case, it's good to have a backup. Okay. I think we have everyone. As Councilmember Walsh said, he's willing to continue to serve in that capacity, Ramsey County League of Local Governments. So I think we have our list. Yes, Councilmember Engstrand, you're going to continue as the alternate for that. All right. So that slate looks good. I trust our city clerk took good notes of all that. Wonderful. All right, so we need an HRA chair. That position was formerly occupied by Councilmember Jones. There has been some interest that's been expressed. Is there someone that really feels passionate about serving in that capacity? And Councilmember Edberg.
So I'm the vice chair right now. I'm willing, but if there are others that are interested, I'm certainly not married to that idea.
Okay.
Sounds like he wants it.
I'll be his vice chair.
Perfect.
That works for me. I think we've got that. We'll plug that in. And that leaves us with the chair of the city council. Go ahead.
That requires nominations and a vote, right? Does the council vote on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
On the chair.
HRA or the city council?
On the chair of the city council.
Chair of the
Right.
city.
Is it in the same resolution, though, or is it?
Yeah, it's a different.
Oh, same or different?
It's in the same resolution, it's
Oh.
just a different whereas.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Councilmember Edberg, you have historically served in that role. I'll start by asking this. Is that something you'd like to continue to do?
I'm very willing to do that.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to serve in that capacity?
I'd nominate Edward.
Okay, seeing none, I have a nomination for Councilmember Edberg. Do I have a second? Any further discussion on that nomination? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Councilmember Edberg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Of course, it's only in the resolution now. We have to approve the resolution, but
Just thinking back to that meeting
You're well
that
on
you
your way.
ran, that you weren't here, it was so awesome. I mean, you just did a great job. I mean, smooth. I mean,
right.
it was like no parliamentary issues.
in 2 years,
You
that
really
one
earned it,
meeting,
you
that's a
know?
pretty good record. Thank you for reminding everyone of my stellar record, Councilmember Walsh. I do appreciate that. All right, we have our city attorney's I mean, the city attorneys are currently in the resolution, are they not?
Yes.
So I guess the question simply becomes, does anybody have any objections with Gekdu and Olson continuing to stay as our city prosecutors, or Mr. Gilchrist and his firm at Kennedy and Graven continuing on as our city attorney? Okay. So we don't need any further action on that, right? They're in there, okay. So with regard to our designated official newspaper, we have the White Bear Lake Press in there. Mr. Johnson, I see if you're here, if you'd like to say a few words on that, you're more than welcome to do so, but there's no obligation to do it. We do appreciate you being here. Please.
Mayor, council staff, Carter Johnson, publisher of Press Publications. Mic around. Mayor, council, staff. I'm Carter Johnson, publisher of Press Publications. We're delighted to serve the community for the 2023 year as your legal newspaper. We look forward to 2024. Some exciting things about the press. We continue to grow. You've noticed the paper's a little thicker. We're having more circulars and flyers, and we're delighted to be serving some of our local businesses through that, from our grocery stores, et cetera. Our audience is very strong. I have our results. Our weekly audience is over 69,000. What's amazing here is still our print readers are greater than our digital readers. Some of our other markets, our digital is exceeding, but here in this community, our print readership is still excelling. We're one of very few newspapers still using youth carriers, so we're delighted to offer youth a first job, and they're small business owners when they get out and deliver. So thank you again. The paper is free to anybody who wants to receive it. Twice a year we ask for a subscription. We have free box locations throughout our communities. And if you're not getting the paper, feel free to give us a call at the press, 651-407-1200. If after hours, you can call our circulation line, 651-407-1234. Leave a voicemail details, and we'll see if you're on a carrier route or if we can get the closest location. Another exciting update is we launched a newspaper to serve the lakeshore of the lake, and we've been delighted with this. It publishes 4 times a year, and we continue to work with organizations trying to help educate people on the lake. So thank you again. Any questions?
Council, do we have any questions for Mr. Johnson? All right. We do appreciate you being here and sharing a little bit about the press, and
Thank you.
We'll plug along. Thank you. All right, the last item that we didn't mention was the appointment of the administrative hearing officer, Jim Rathburn. That is in the resolution, appointing him. Any concerns, objections, comments on that? Okay. So I think we've covered everything that needs to be covered. And with that,
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve the resolution approving the aforementioned appointments along with the slate of council members that will serve on the various organizations. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That resolution is approved. All right. Item 8B, the first reading of an ordinance amending the zoning code regarding notice and voting requirements. Mr. Lindahl, whenever you're ready.
Mayor and members of the City Council, thank you. The item before you tonight, as you mentioned, is a zoning code text amendment related to notice and voting requirements for zoning amendments, which would include either text amendments or rezoning of properties, and to plan unit development applications. Staff offers this item really as kind of a housekeeping kind of item to bring the zoning code regulations in line and make them consistent with the city's charter and with state law. The city attorney, staff has worked with the city attorney to review the proposed changes and draft the ordinance, and the city attorney is recommending these changes to establish, again, consistency in the city's standards. The changes these changes in the city's voting process requirements would be from a supermajority or a 4/5 vote to a simple majority of the council or 3/5. Again, this voting standard, again, is for rezoning, zoning text amendment changes, and for PUD, planned unit development applications. And to, again, remain consistent with state statute, any rezoning application that would change from residential to commercial remains at a supermajority vote. The Planning Commission held the required public hearing on zoning amendments like we typically do back at their November meeting, and that meeting produced no comments. We've gone through the normal publishing process for zoning code text amendments and have not received any comments from the public. So with that, both the Planning Commission and staff are recommending approval. In this case, the City Council should conduct the first reading tonight of the ordinance, and that would be related to amending the municipal code for notice and voting requirements for zoning amendments and plan unit development applications. And with the second reading, an action on this item would be considered at the January 23rd meeting. And with that, I'd stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lindo. Council, do we have any questions? We've had the first reading. Is there anything that would be useful to comment now for purposes of the second reading? Councilmember Edberg.
Thank you, Mayor. Perhaps more from Mr. Gilchrist. Does the change, okay, so I have appreciated the role of a supermajority for PUD. I really don't have objections in the other two, but I valued the requirement of a supermajority. There have been more than one situations in my tenure where that has been in play. And in my mind, it forces an agreement among members of the council, presumably representing the interests of the community, in PUD situations. Is the change in statute that was referenced, I think I know the answer, but I'm just going to ask it. Do we have any discretion to retain the 4/5 or was the state statute change such that we do not have discretion and that we are simply bringing us into compliance, into strict compliance with statute?
Yes. So, Mr. Mayor and Council, there's really two different answers on this depending on which issue you're looking at. So with the amendment piece, to your zoning ordinance and your any rezoning requests, that was a law change that happened in 2001. We're getting around to amending. So that's been a bit out there for a while, and frankly is inconsistent with your charter as well. So there's no question that one needs to be changed. When it comes to the other one with the PUD, that's not really a statutory base. The statutes recognize PUDs, but they really don't get into the same voting requirements that they do with amendments. But you still have your charter. And arguably, that supermajority requirement isn't consistent with your charter because your charter says a majority of all the members. And so when you're imposing on yourself something greater than that, arguably, you're not being consistent with your charter. And so that's why I really recommend we should get this in line. Certainly the first piece, kind of long overdue. Let's get that cleaned up. And by the way, the notice provisions that have changed in here, they're meant to just track with what the statute says. So that language that you see there, that's all just right out of the statute because frankly, your current language is not quite as clear on that. So let's just be clear that here's the statutory notice requirements. And then when it comes to plan unit developments, again, just being consistent with your charter.
So the issue as it pertains to PUDs is mostly an issue with our charter, not necessarily an issue with the state.
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
So if there were a number of, and I don't think there is, but if there were a number of council members who wanted to change the charter, that would be the way to obtain the outcome that I've become enamored of.
Absolutely.
All right, fine. I understand the options. Thank you. Thanks.
Councilmember Walsh.
Well, just for what it's worth, Mr. Mayor, I have the same reaction Councilmember Edberg did when I started reading the memo, and I thought, well, I'm reluctant to change this, and then you're kind of convinced by the we're out of step with our own charter, we're out of step with state law, but I'm just for the record, or for what it's worth, I mean, I don't know if there's anything we do about it. My gut is kind of where you are, in terms of, I don't mind a higher bar for some of these things. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing, so, for the future. I don't know.
Okay. Any other comments on this? We have had our first reading, and we'll take this up again.
So I'll just invite, if there are other council members who would like to pursue that alternative to changing the charter, sending it back to the Charter Commission with a council recommendation, let's think about that. It's not a massive deal, but so the nature, we are mostly a built-out community. Planned use developments usually are more sizable. They're not looking at a single cosmetic change or a relatively small change. And so asking for a supermajority strikes me as being useful for us, but it's not something I think any of us need to plant our swords on. So anyway.
Well, I'll just note that I agree with both Councilmember Edberg and Councilmember Walsh. I think having that higher burden is good. So that's sort of, I look at as the long-term solution, and I'm open to having those conversations. In the short term, we probably need to pass something to shore this up, because the city attorney can correct me if I'm wrong, but our ordinance can say whatever it wants, but if it's superseded by what the state statute requires, it might as well be in the ordinance anyways. So let's just do it for the sake of good order, and then we can take up those issues down the road. Is that a fair characterization, Mr. Gilchrist?
Mr. Mayor, yes, and I'll remind the council that staff is working with consultants to update the entire zoning code. So there's an opportunity there to have those discussions with the Charter Commission to see if in fact they support that. Because as you know, if they can make a recommendation by unanimous vote of the council, you can amend the charter.
Very good. Okay. Final comments on that? All right, we'll take this up again at the next council meeting. Item 9, discussion, nothing scheduled. Item 10, communications from the city manager. Ms. Crawford.
Thank you, Mayor. Today we had a big visitor here at City Hall and at the License Bureau. The governor was here today, and he got his blackout plate. So Governor Walz, Commissioner Jacobson, and DVS Director Zhang were here, along with Mayor Lewis met. You can see Lexi is the one who helped him in the License Bureau, and then he was generous enough to spend some time with staff and with our License Bureau staff and take a photo with us. So it was quite the commotion for a while. We did not shut the License Bureau down, so we did have quite a line that went through the hallway during that entire time, as well as about, I'd say, I don't know, 20-ish people for a short press conference that happened right here in this room. So a lot going on. So I just wanted to share that. And the reason that he selected White Bear Lake License Bureau was because of we were recommended by the Department of Vehicle Services, which is a huge deal. We received a lot of compliments while they were here of the work that our License Bureau staff has done over the many years, and just the willingness to partner with the state. So I wanted to be sure and share that. And I think the mayor stayed around and got new plates too, right?
I did. I got a set of blackout plates myself. They're pretty cool.
So a portion of that goes to fund Department of Vehicle Services. So, and then it is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day today. So just thank you to all of our law enforcement professionals here in White Bear Lake. We formally recognize them later in the year with the proclamation for Police Week and all that. But just wanted to say thank you to all of them. We appreciate all the work that you do. And just welcome Councilmember West. Staff was looking forward to working with you, and thank you for running and serving our community. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Crawford. I just want to echo a couple of things. First, having had the privilege to be here this afternoon, I do want to extend my compliments to all of the License Bureau staff. They've handled themselves with professionalism, and with the spotlight on them, with all the media attention, they did a great job, kept servicing the customers that came in, and did help the governor buy his plates. So kudos to them. Just wanted to give a shout out to them for their good work today. And I too will again welcome Councilmember West to the dais and to the council. We look forward to working with you, and I'm sure this is the first of many, many good meetings where we'll have lots of good discussions. So welcome to the council. Anything else for Ms. Crawford? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.